Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel here every day, Monday to Friday at 4 o'clock. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff and Chris Miller here with me in the studio to look ahead to tonight's match between Rangers and Malmo, the Champions League qualifier. What a big match this is for Rangers. And we'll discuss that as well as the other clubs involved in European football. 4 Scottish clubs all keen to try and get positive results. We'll discuss that and all the major news from today. It's Tuesday. Delighted to have Chris with us. Of course, Ruffy, it's 50 years this year since Partick Thistle won that League Cup. I know you've got a lot of things going on. You're going to be celebrating 50 years since Thistle won the League Cup. You've brought your medal in with me. And it was 50 years as well, quite synonymous with Glasgow. 50 years ago that beige and brown were still in Glasgow. Ruffy, which is quite unusual. It's taken a long time. For it to come back in fashion, but apparently it's back in.
It's a new colour. Yeah, it's definitely the new colour. There's only some people who can get away with it.
Oh, well, by the way, thin people.
Yes.
We couldn't get away with that. It takes a lot of bottle and the shoes.
It was my daughter that dressed me today, so when I was getting ready to come here today, I was like, I need to get an outfit out, pick me something out. I was quickly running about and she put it out.
What's your daughter's name?
Ellie Miller.
Ellie, well done to you.
Give Ellie her trousers back when you
well done, Ellie. As soon as I looked at it, I thought, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Ellie has dressed her dad 30 years younger than he should be. And of course, the one serious element of it all, Ruffy, is you've got this fantastic League Cup medal. I don't know if anybody can actually see, but it says on the back here, season 71-72, League Cup winner, of course. Fantastic. 50 years, Ruffy, a lot of great memories.
It is, and fortunately for us, a lot of the boys are still with us, which isn't the case across the road, unfortunately.
It's quite unusual that, I mean, Celtic, a lot of the great players that played in that Celtic side are no longer with us. Really sad.
It is very, very sad, particularly obviously wee Jinky, Bobby Murdoch, you know, the Big Billy. Every time I met Big Billy, he still couldn't go over why Jock never played him that day.
Yeah.
You know, but that's between them. But, you know, it's a tragedy that legends like that are here no longer, because they would be part of our celebrations. We would want to get Celtic involved as well, because they were part of that day. So they'll be taking part in a lot of the activities as well.
And will there be some Celtic players?
Yes, they've been invited,
Wee
Bertie will obviously be there, you know, because he just has to be there.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I have to tell you, Bertie and his son came into the studios last week, and it was an absolute joy. I mean, when we showed him around the new studios, he was just in awe of it all. He loved it. I mean, he just absolutely loved all the stuff that he got to see.
He's not only a footballer, he's a showman.
Oh.
You know, he's the kind of guy that if you're part of a football club, the supporters love him, because he is part of the supporters. You know, and you don't get that. And also, you don't get that all the time with the modern day footballers. Sometimes I think they're just too distant. Mm-hmm. You know, there's no that personal touch, you know, anymore. But back in Bertie's days, you know, it was handshakes all round, you know, it was meeting everybody at functions and everything, and unfortunately that doesn't happen as much now. Yeah.
I've got to ask you, I mean, if my memory serves me correct, because of our knowledge of each other, have you not got your medal in a frame with the shirt?
Mm-hmm. It was my wife.
It looks great.
It did, you know, and that's one of the things that because she's done that, you obviously can't have it. And people always say is that you must have it on show all the time and that. And I don't, it sits up there and it's we displaying that, and it's nice to have it, but it's brilliant, something like that. And obviously the team you played against, unbelievable.
But the great thing about it from your point of view, Chris, is you can never, Tommy Gemmell said to me, you can never take away the memories.
No, and so what you're alluding to there about characters and people, that's what I remember from my days at St Johnstone. It was like that team spirit we had and the togetherness we've had with the fans at St Johnstone at that time when we won the cup. It's brilliant, and I like to think myself with something like that as well, somebody that wants to engage with the fans, wants to give back to them, and as I say, I think half a Perth had my medal on that after that cup final, so no, it's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. 50 years from now, Ruffy, the wee man will be back together with the St Johnstone team. Stevie May, I love white, long, perm, curly hair.
Stephen Anderson will still look the same. He looks about 50 years out now.
I know, absolutely. I'm dying to know what Cup Tie Mackay will look like. Anyway, talking of team spirit, I'll tell you, Rangers have got a good team spirit. They'll need it tonight. Massive game, Ruffy, for them against Malmo.
Yeah, it's for the first time in a wee while it's going to be a nervy game for them. You know, they generally last year they'd done and dusted, particularly away from home, most of their games. So I think big players respond to nervy games. You know, that's when you know you've got to go out and perform. And certainly the managers have told them they have to perform after the last two performances. So that's what they've got to do. And by all accounts, they have been doing it. You know, there's a wee bit added pressure, and this time everybody's talking about the money. You know, and it is a lot of money, 40 million, something like that. It's something that Rangers really want to get their hands on. So that just adds the other wee bit of pressure onto it. But I think they'll still be good enough to do it.
Yeah, talking of that money, I mean, John Dahl Thomason yesterday, the Malmo coach, he certainly had a wee bit of the noise up with most of the press, just mentioning the fact that Rangers need this Champions League money, was how he put it. And he said, I don't need to over-elaborate. They need the money to, you know, from the Champions League.
Things like that, players always say they don't read the press, they don't hear, but things like that are just throwing me things that are just to build the pressure, and that also transfers into the crowd as well, because Rangers at home, it's a difficult task, right? Malmo players will know that, but if they can stifle the crowd, and I know Steven Gerrard has alluded to wants that atmosphere and that, but I've played there, and 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in, maybe things aren't going well, it can become a bit intimidating, but they've got good players that should be able to handle that pressure.
Well, how unusual is it going to be, Chris, this time around? Because suddenly you're in a situation, Ruffy, where the public address system, suddenly the announcer gives it, here come the teams. And for the first time in, 16, 18 months, Rangers and Malmo players will walk out to a full house. The noise will be unbelievable. It'll be a new experience for a lot of players.
Oh, no, I think as a player, you thrive on that cauldron atmosphere. You walk out, and I think that's what's totally been missed. And it's brilliant to start that, and you go out and you play and you're fired up. But as soon as the whistle goes, the noise becomes, you don't differentiate from what noise is what. You're just involved in the game. But the longer that game goes and the longer it builds, if the Rangers need a goal, pressure builds.
Yeah.
But so it's so important that they start the game, and I'm sure the Rangers will come out firing. In the predicted lineup, I think they'll go attacking, and they'll try and take the game and try and get an early goal, and that's when if you do that, you get a crowd behind you, and it just pushes them forward.
Yeah, what about that lineup? Here's what we think might be the starting 11. There could be a tweak here and there, but McGregor, Tavernier, Golson, Helander and Barisic, which almost picks itself these days. Then you've got Arfield, Davis, Aribo, Hadji's back, Morelos and Kent. I mean, there could be a tweak here and there, but that's his tried and trusted.
It's as tight as you think you can get, you know. I think Arfield last year was brilliant for him. Just breaking those lines, dynamic. Kent, Hadji. The only one that you'd really say in that team is going to be maybe Holt is Davis.
Yeah.
You've got two ballmen on, so.
But even he's picking the pass. He's like a man rejuvenated.
Exactly. And Stephen Davis is, whatever age, I remember like people ask me who's one of the best players you play against. Stephen Davis is one of the players I always say.
What was it about him?
Just controlled the game.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things today is to keep it simple at times. Picking the right pass, seeing the game as it develops, as it happens, anticipation. You know, he's done it all in the game. You know, the all-time record.
We played the pre-season, and the first half he had one team, the second half he had another team. First half was sort of in between the first team, and then the second half the first team come on and Davis come on, and just that's all he did. Every time he got the ball, he just brought somebody into the game, whether it was 15 yards, 20 yards. Wasn't any big splitting passes. It was just pulling people into the game, keeping the ball. No, and if you did a stat on him, you know, passes made. You know, remember we went to see Barcelona against Celtic, and the stats after the game, the two people had the most passes in the game were the two centre-halves. Well, the two centre-halves made the most passes in the Barcelona team, and that's what he was like, you know. He was just pulling all the strings, never giving possession away at all.
Yeah. Matt thinks Balogun will play in this one. I mean, listen, Matt, it could be. I mean, this is the twists and turns of a manager at the last minute. He'll pick a player that he thinks might be able to do the job as well. And lots of people just wondering about what the score's going to be. You can give us your thoughts on that. There's quite a lot of people on our feed on YouTube now offering their tuppence worth. Jonathan thinks 2-0 to Rangers in this one. It's all about opinions. It's all about what you think Rangers are going to have to do tonight. The manager's called on the crowd this time around. He maybe didn't believe that a crowd can, you know, have an effect in a game maybe 16 or 18 months ago, Ruffy, but boy, he knows it now.
Yeah, I think Chris has touched on it. If you're playing in front of 50,000, you know, before the game's even started, you're walking out and you know they're behind you. You know, they know you're behind you, but you've got to get them behind you. You've got to get that goal. And if they get the first goal, they'll be really behind them, and I don't think there's any problem after that if they score first, but they've got to do it. You know, the only thing I can hark my mind back to the advantage of home games was way back in a Scotland-England game at Wembley when Scotland fans weren't supposed to be there, and you're in the tunnel going, oh, there's 100,000 up there, and they're all English supporters, and you're going to be in a cauldron. And then lo and behold, you go up the tunnel and you go in the park, and it's all Scottish supporters. So it turns the whole game. You know, it turns it, you're now got the support behind you rather than against you. And it's amazing how it works, but as you said, you've got to make it work. Because if it goes the other way, then fans, quite rightly, are going to get a wee bit anxious, you know. If they were to score first, you know, then you're now going, oh, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. No away goal now. So, important to score the first goal, and I think they will score the first goal.
Yeah, Olympiacos are Ludogorets waiting to play the winner of this one. I think we mentioned Steve Davis there. It's crucial, that goal away from home. I think that just means now that, you know, if Rangers get the first goal, suddenly the whole place is lifted. Definitely.
And as it's so important to 2-0 is a tricky scoreline in football. It's one of the ones, well, do you sit back, do you cut, but 2-1 with that goal, it just gives the Rangers that wee bit of, right, let's go, just go and take a game. Rangers are the better team. You look on paper, you say Rangers are the favourites, and they just need to get that goal, build that confidence, and then the crowd will come into play. And I see Rangers winning today.
It's a good point you make there, Chris, just on the basis of I thought in the first leg, you know, apart from that mad 5 minutes at the start of the second half, Robbie, I thought Rangers looked comfortable in the game, you know, and I think, you know, Davis scoring at the end gave everybody a lift. You could tell by the body language of the Malmo players, they were just totally and utterly deflated. Malky's mentioned there, just hope Kent is on tonight, he'll tear them apart if he is. These are the games where if you want to try and build your, you know, your CV, your stature, you know, your credibility, these are the games where you have to actually say, I am the player that can make the difference, and you make the difference.
Yeah, I think everybody knows what he's got. You know, he has the difference. You know, he can get you at your seat. You know, there's not many people now go take on people, you know, with the ability he's got, and he's got a trick or two, and he scores goals as well. He will have to improve in his performance, but he's a quality player, and he will do that. I mean, Rangers were only 2 down because of 2 mistakes, you know, in that 2-minute period, but that's what they've got to watch out for tonight, that there isn't any more. They can't afford any of these mistakes that they got last week. So, you know, I think they have to be on the front foot, and Kent is a big player, also the centre forward's a big player as well. I think they've got match winners, you know, on the front foot are going to cause anybody problems.
Yeah, Ruffy, I'm going to go for 2-0.
I think if they score early, I think if Rangers score early at about 15-20 minutes, I think they'll go on and win maybe 3-0.
Yeah. You going 3?
Can you let me know if they've got that early goal? No, go 3.
No, but there's nothing at stake, Ruffy. Don't worry about it. There's no point
let
in the
me say
predictor.
I think they'll have enough.
3-0.
2. I'll go for 2.
You go for 2. Okay. I don't know why you're changing dramatically, Chris.
No, I think they could. I think if they, looking at that team, if that's a team that the predicted lineup is what they play, and they score early, I think they could go on and get 2 or 3. So I'm going to go 3. I'll go 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0.
I'll go 3-0.
Yeah, Rick Stark says 2-0 Rangers as well. It's all about opinions. We'll find out over the 90 minutes whether Rangers are now looking forward to that one last hurdle. Again, everybody looking for the millions in the group stages of the Champions League, and the money keeps going up and up. Never mind the points that you get in the group stage, the overall payments are there. The reward, if you can get into the knockout stage, is incredible as well. It really can set you up for the next few years. So we wait to find out exactly what's going to happen with this one. And quite a lot of people obviously giving it to you. 3-0, then you've changed your mind. Now you go 2-0. Don't worry about it. It's all about opinions. You can give us yours, incidentally, if you want to download the PLZ Soccer app in Google Play and in the App Store. There's a little section on it called Submissions. It's fairly straightforward. Once you click on the app, all you have to do is quite simply look for Submissions And when you're in there, you can actually hit record and record your own message, your own thoughts on what you think is going to happen in, of course, the game, or your after-match thoughts as well. And if we use it on the programme, we'll send you out something special. Simple as that. What more can I say to you? Giving away lots of prizes. Well done to, I think it's Ricky Mullen from yesterday, who won the Motherwell top. We'll be giving away another Premiership top this week, tomorrow on the show. Don't miss that. And we'll be joined by our Aberdeen correspondent, no less, Ruffy. We've got an Aberdeen correspondent now. Look at your face.
I thought he was coming down for Aberdeen. Did you sell it?
No.
I'm thinking expenses.
Ruffy. No. So am I. He's staying up there. That's why we've got him as an Aberdeen correspondent. So Andrew Shiney will be joining us tomorrow to give us his thoughts on the Dons as well ahead of their game against Breidablik. But with that in mind, I'm just going to stay with Rangers on a couple of issues before we move on to the other Scottish clubs involved in European football, and we'll also talk about Messi mania as well. Charles Greene is in the news today, Ruffy. I think he's now been awarded £6.3 million for compensation for being wrongly prosecuted by the Crown Office in the whole takeover of Rangers. I mean, it's an incredible amount of money. And I think the one thing that a lot of people would ask is, who handled it? Who handled it, and what about the motivation behind spending so much of the public purse, I think, in prosecuting a number of people who were involved in Rangers at that time?
Yeah, and it's not only him. I think they've already paid out 20 million
Yeah.
to another couple of the people who were involved in the administration. And I think a lot of the Rangers supporters will know more about what was happening within the club than anybody else. But I think, in hindsight, I think they would all agree that they would like these people to be investigated, because I don't think they thought their club was being run properly. I think they thought there was some dodgy things going on about. So I think you've got to investigate it, but it's obviously not being handled properly through the procedures of what you have to do. And the compensation it's a lot of money, and I'm sure a lot of Rangers supporters will be scratching their head going, how did that happen?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been a long, long time, but finally Charles Greene seems to have got justice. Whether it's over for him, whether he will continue to get even more money out of the Crown Office, only time will tell. But with Rangers never too far away from front and back pages, now we have a situation where the SPFL, Chris, have asked the SFA to arbitrate on this current dispute they have, where Rangers basically refuse to promote the league sponsor. We're all aware that there could be a perception of a conflict of interest, but quite simply, what we don't know is who was made aware of what, at what time, when the deal was signed. Were all parties aware that this was going to be a car company? Rangers obviously have Douglas Park and his own car company. The problem with it is, rather than get into the meat and bones of who's right and who's wrong, is it's not healthy for the image of the game.
No, look, it's, everybody knows, and it affects all the clubs, because it's sponsorship for all the other clubs, and especially at this time with the COVID situation, the fans getting lost income for the clubs. It's going to affect what they have in their budgets, their bank balances. So the quicker they can get to the bottom of it, the quicker that it can get sorted and dealt with. But there must be a paper trail along the way. There must be something that will come out in the wash.
Yeah.
And the quicker it gets done, the quicker it gets dealt with, the better it is for everybody, and draw a line under it and move on, and the sponsorship in the league can then do whatever that it happens, whatever that they do in terms of promoting the game.
Distribution of the money.
Yeah, definitely.
The other problem with it as well is, I think that's the good point you made there with following the paper trail. Once we get all the emails and who knew what, Ruffy, then hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it. Now, I do think Stuart Robertson made a couple of good points. Now, whether there's any legitimacy in, the actual deal, and when Rangers were notified of the sponsorship, and whether there was a notification to the SPFL of the conflict of interest or whatever, only time will tell on that. But the one thing that sticks in my mind about this whole thing, Stuart Robertson did mention the fact that, okay, the Sky deal, while welcome, Scottish football has been undersold, and he's talking about the sponsorship itself of the SPFL with Cinch. Again, not a great deal as far as the amount of money that all the clubs will get. But I think the only thing I would question Stuart Robertson on is, we are a country that hasn't sold itself well. certainly hasn't projected a great image that would interest big investors coming in. You know, we look like a group of just squabbling people fighting outside a pub and can never agree. That's the impression I get. Why would you want to come and pay big money for Scottish football when really the image of it, I think, over 2, 3, 4 years has been tarnished?
Yeah, I think in the pandemic obviously hasn't helped that either, you know, with companies not actually active, you know, so I would have thought any sponsorship attraction, particularly with that amount of money, most of the clubs would be happy with, you know, and I don't hear any of the other clubs complaining about the money of it because they think it's a good deal at this precise moment in time, the way the climate is. I still think there's an ulterior motive going on behind the scenes, and we all know what it is. And the Rangers aren't happy with the SPL board. That's fair enough. I'm sure there's lots of other clubs aren't particularly happy with the SPFL board as well. But we keep saying every year, you know, why does somebody not get round the table and sort this out? Now, this arbitration just is another knife in the back, you know, that it's just going to make it worse. You know, instead of dragging people together, it's going to be more and more, you know, against, you know, the organisation. But SPFL don't do things lightly if they go by the letter of the law. They seem to be good at the law, what's in that rule book, and they seem to throw it up and they seem to win most of the cases. So it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out.
Yeah, absolutely. We've given you our opinion, our observation of it. Don't forget, you can give us your opinion as well. And thanks to the countless amount of people who join us and subscribe to our PLZ Soccer YouTube channel. Thank you very much to the majority of people. I think a very high percentage of fans who know what they're talking about, love their club, and post messages on our YouTube feed when we're live. We do get every now and then people who actually are abusive, don't know what they're talking about, and of course just put out misinformation, and we apologise. What we do though is we try and ban as many of them as possible, and Dr. Gamer, I don't think you're too far away from being banned as well, because we like to stick to the facts. We like fans who back their club and know what they're talking about and actually can listen to everything in context, Ruffy.
Yeah, and we don't mind a bit of banter and a bit of humour. I mean, football is all about, has to have a bit of humour as well as a serious debate. So it's the ones, as you say, that go over the top.
Yep, absolutely. We wait to see what the SFA will arbitrate on that case as well. Okay, to Celtic, Jablonets, 4-2 up from the first leg. Don't think there'll be any problems in the second leg, and because this seems to be an evolving, different Celtic team under Ange Postecoglou.
No, I think that we spoke about it before. It was important for them to get that win, and then obviously kicking on into the weekend, the result against Dundee just builds confidence, scoring goals, and a win can change so much. It can totally change the mentality, and I think somebody that's one of the players that's been from last year has got a lot of criticism, who's now standing it this year again, is Ryan Christie, who's been a breath of fresh air again. He looks as if he's got his hunger back, he looks as if he's enjoying his football, and sometimes, you know, players won't say it, but maybe under the last manager he just wasn't getting the best out of him, and maybe he was doing things that he didn't normally do, and he's obviously the new manager's come in and he just looks like a different player. So no, and it looks like a done and dusted tie, to be honest with you. I'd imagine Celtic will go on and win the game comfortably, but it'll be good again to build on what they've done, 2 wins, going for 3 wins, and that just builds your confidence and builds momentum and pushes them on going into the league in the weekend.
It was an entirely different team on Saturday. You know, that you know, obviously you get the 4 goals away from home and everybody's buzzing, you know, and then you go into that game. You know, I don't know if you remember Friday night with Charlie Adam on, and Charlie had a dastardly plan that they were going to use at Parkhead. I'm dying to meet him and tell me when it's going to kick in, because but you know, when you play Celtic and Rangers and you go 2 or 3 goals down, you're up against it. They're going to. Everybody wants the ball. Everybody wants to join in, and everybody wants a goal. And the fans are all. It's hard places to go to when you go 2 and 3 behind. Yeah.
Listen, there's other major things that they're obviously going to have to deal with. Players coming in, players going out. There's all sorts of speculation. I mean, Edouard, we think it could be imminent. He could be on his way to the English Premier League, you know, whether it's Brighton, whether it's Southampton. I don't think we're too far away from saying goodbye to the Frenchman.
No, like, I think if anybody's looked at his body language and the way he's been playing early, it looks as if he's playing like a gear or 2 gears sometimes down for what the Edouard that you know he can be. And And when it happens like that, when a player doesn't want to be at a club anymore, or a player's tempted to go elsewhere, it's hard for the club to continue to keep him there and try and force him there, maybe against his own will. And look, it's not nice. It isn't nice. You've signed a contract, you're supposed to see it out, but you can't have that because other players see it. He's not doing his job. The fans kind of start to go on his back. He's not performing well. It's not good for the dressing room. So maybe it's better for sometimes you take the money and move on and bring somebody else in who wants to be there, who wants to score goals, who's going to get that hunger to go and push on and kick on from Celtic. Because look, the way it is just now, if you're doing well in Scotland, there's a lot of players that come in, Celtic, Rangers, they're looking for that next step to the English Premiership for big money.
Yeah.
Look, no disrespect to like Ayer who's moved in there as well, but come on, Celtic are a bigger club than them when you look at it, and it's like it's financial. It's going from there, and then it's the next move off the back of that as well. Like Virgil van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? It's the exact same kind of thing. So it is where Celtic Rangers are at, unfortunately.
I think the biggest problem that Celtic have, they have to promise these players if a decent bid comes in, we won't stand. And when a bid does come in, agents probably on it. You know, and we think, well, that's a decent bid. And Celtic go, we don't think it's a decent bid. And then the player's caught in the middle. And then, as you say, his head goes down. But his body language has never been like when he scores goals. I mean, even he scored the penalty on Saturday. If I'd have scored a penalty, I'd be jumping about. He just picks the ball up and gives it to somebody else and walks to the halfway line. It's just, that might just be the way he is, you know, but we obviously can see that he's not performing at the level that he can.
Yeah. Listen, if he goes out the door, there's talk of Thomas Henry coming into Celtic from OH Leuven for £7 million. I always think, listen, you can have all the best attributes in the world, everybody mentioning how great a player you are, the videos that look great. It's all about people over a period of time just judging whether they get this man and whether he can offer something for them. But there's no doubt that Ange Postecoglou has a list of people that he wants, and he wants them to come in quickly.
Yeah, I think that's well documented. You know, this boy you're talking about looks as if he's got a scoring ratio over the last couple of years. You know. But there is, as you say, there's been a lot of players have came to Rangers and Celtic and haven't produced it. So you've got to make sure you do your homework. They've already had their fingers burnt with the goalkeeper. So I think now they're under pressure that anybody they bring in for that kind of money, you know, has to hit the ground running. There's none of this settling in period you're in. You know, and let's see you scoring goals. Yeah,
and interestingly enough, Tom Rogic certainly surprised a few Celtic fans that he was playing from the start against Dundee. Will he play from the start in this match against the Jablonec of the Czech Republic? Well, Ange Postecoglou reckons Rogic is exactly what he's looking for.
I know Tommy well, but you know, that doesn't make it any more easier or more challenging than the other players. For me, it's about the collective, about what we're trying to create. Like I said, I know he's what he brings to the table in terms of his abilities and the kind of football I want to play. He's a perfect fit, and you know, if he keeps working hard like he has been, I'm sure he'll enjoy it.
Might get a new lease of life, Tom Rogic, but I wonder if Celtic will get a new lease of life, because the one criticism I have of Rogic is not his ability, it's his stamina.
No, it seems to be that it's been documented 60, 70 minutes. He seems to tire, but if you get him firing, if you get him playing, what he can do in those 60, 70 minutes is what some other players can't do. You know what I mean? He creates chances for people, he scores goals, he can go both ways, he's strong, he's quick. So players like that, sometimes you have to account for them in your team, because they're the guys that win you games. These are the guys that are going to do something special that maybe other players can't do. And when a new manager comes in, as you said before, sometimes it takes that change of manager, a new lease of life, just gives you back that confidence that you've maybe not had before, and maybe a different approach. Maybe he's a bit more hands round the shoulder than maybe what Neil Lennon was before. But no, he's a quality player, and it's been proven before, time and time again, that he can be a match winner for Celtic. Yeah,
well, if he's got a new lease of life, there's another man, Anthony Ralston, who has had a new lease of life and is enjoying his football at Celtic finally.
It's new to myself to play that way, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a free role being able to go inside and get on the ball that way, and it's something new that I'm just trying to perform the best I can, and what the managers tell me to do, I'm just trying to put it into a training session and into games, and that's what I intend to do moving forward.
All he can do is just keep trying to play his absolute best until, of course, they're trying to get another right back in, but they haven't managed yet.
No, I think all credit to him. He's been pushed out 2 or 3 times, and obviously had the feeling that he's not got the quality to play for Celtic, and he's battled away and he's been thrown in yet again. He's done nothing wrong, so all credit to him. And as long as he keeps playing well, he demands to be playing. He's scoring goals. And I know the fans will want a bigger name or a bigger quality or somebody with more money attached to them. But if he continues to play well, I would just leave him there, because I think the boy deserves every chance available for what he's went through in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. As far as the game's concerned, it's 4-2 now. I expect Celtic to score 2 or 3. 3-0 I'm going for, Ruffy.
No, I'm going to go more than that. I'm going to go 4 or 5. And the evidence of Dundee, I don't think that team are any miles ahead of Dundee. And the way they lost the goals at home, I would think Celtic could score another 5 or 6.
He was slightly pensive on 2 or 3 at home for Rangers. Now he's gone 5 or 6 for Celtic. Chris?
No, I think so as well. I think in the last game, they weren't up to much at all. I didn't feel, and Celtic are scoring goals just now. Their confidence will be high. I'll go for 5.
Yeah, okay, interesting stuff. What about you? Are you going for 5 for your old team at home against Galatasaray?
Well,
it's 1-1 at the moment.
Why not? No, look, it's still going to be very difficult for them, but different class of what they did the other night. They're absolutely fantastic.
Isn't it strange we're talking about? I look at this game and I think this could be one of the biggest results in St Johnstone's history coming up. I would not rule out. I thought they would lose by a couple of goals over in Turkey. They were magnificent, up to the usual standard that Callum has them well organised.
Said to you, we were talking about just before that game, and if Callum has it organised, I think Hugh touched on it, he says he'll have a game plan, he'll go and set it out there, and implemented it brilliantly. Their shape was really good, they all worked hard, and the chances to win, do you know what I mean? Hurricane had a great chance to win it as well, and I know they had missed a penalty the week before, and big Jason Kerr stepped up, and I think he sclaffed it.
Do you think so?
I think he sclaffed it into the ground, and big man won't appreciate me saying that, but he sclaffed it into the ground, but it hit the net.
Yeah.
And just unfortunately they couldn't hold on for the win, but I'll be buzzing. I'm trying to get a ticket myself. I'm trying to get up to the game.
Yeah. Cup winner, trying to get a ticket.
I was on the phone to Paul Smith, so Paul knows that I'm looking for a ticket, so I'll be texting him later on, see if he's sorted me one out. If
a St Johnstone legend can't get a ticket for one of the biggest European games, the game's a bogey, Ruffy, isn't it?
I think so as well, yeah. I think you should all have special seats up there. You just go in and have a seat.
Well, if it hadn't been for that stupid double winning side, he would have had one.
They've been in the front row.
They're all in
You're up the back.
Yeah, and with that in mind, give us your overall view then of what Callum will be saying, what Callum's plan will be this time around with the tie poised so beautifully.
I think more of the same again. I think when we just think back to the Rosenborg game, that's something I can compare to when we played those European ties, and it was important. They went 1-0 up in the game actually anyway, but it was just important to not lose the game in the first 15 minutes, not go gung-ho. The game will come to you, build yourself back into it. Again, keep good shape, but Perth will be rocking. It will be absolutely jumping. The crowd will be up, there'll be a great atmosphere. And I think the players, just that group of players, something special about that group of players right now. Every time they're asked a question, they answer it emphatically. And when you've got that team and that management staff right now, you can't write them off.
Yeah, I know the Perth public will be out there in great numbers to get behind the team, and Murray Davison has mentioned it'll be up to the players to try and generate that atmosphere to get the crowd excited.
But yeah, no player wants to play in front of away fans when they're in the atmosphere and they're getting abuse and whatever. So the fans, I've seen it before, whether it's Rangers or Celtic or whether it's European nights, big cup games. I've seen McDermott Park, and it is a brilliant atmosphere when we get a good gate through. So it's up to us as players to generate that as well, but I don't think it'll take much to get them going on Thursday.
Yeah, let's hope that all the St Johnstone players are able to lift the fans that'll be bouncing in there for this game. What a game it is. And of course, quite a lot of people will realise that Murray has been sitting on his own just talking to a basketball at times, Ruffy, on a dinghy.
I'm just wondering how long he'd been stranded on that desert island when they got him back.
Yeah, every time I see Murray, I always throw a couple of quid his way just to see if he can get a haircut or something. What the nick of him?
He gets through these periods, right? He used to just grow the beard, right? And we used to call it, remember the Naked Rambler?
Yeah.
That's exactly what he looks like. We used to call him a Naked Rambler, and that's what he's like. But he's spot on there, what he's saying. They need to generate atmosphere. That cut was for Rangers as well. The crowd react to what's happening on the pitch, and if that's going well, then it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see a great night. I'm going to go. I mean, it's just madness. I'm going to go 2-1 St Johnstone.
I'd take 1-0 right now. 1-0, I'm going to say.
Yeah, Ruffy.
I think it's going to be tense. I hope they go through in penalties.
Yeah,
I do, because I think they'll score. I think they have got a bit of quality, but you know, it's a big ask to beat them. So I would be hanging on for extra time and penalties.
yeah, okay. There's a couple other games that, having gone to Easter Road, Ruffy, and watched the game against Rijeka, this is the one game where I have a fear. Because I didn't think they were great, but with all creation size, technically they had a couple of players. Ampem I thought was a good player, and they had their number 10, whose name completely escapes me. They were technically good on the ball. I just get the feeling that this one is the one that I am my worries about, that they could come a cropper, even though it's 1-1 against Rijeka from the first leg.
Yeah, I would agree as well. If you're not good enough to beat them at home, then it's a big ask to beat them away from home. I think the only consolation is the away goal. You know, that team haven't got an away goal. They've got a goal, but not the away goals, you know, and they're the kind of team that would see that out if they had an away goal. So it's a level playing field, but they really do have to perform. And their performances here have been fantastic. All the big players have all been playing top notch. So, you know, it depends how good they are at home, but I agree with you, this could be a really tight one.
Yeah, okay. I'm loath to say I think it's going to be 1-0 Rijeka.
I'm going to go all the way again in penalties.
Yeah, Hibbies to get through.
I like the big goalkeeper, Macy's. I like Xander Clark. I think the form he's on, he's good enough to save penalties as well.
Yeah, okay.
It's difficult. It's one of those ties that I think, just thinking back, it's like teams you maybe don't know a lot about, and they're technically good.
Yeah.
I didn't see the game myself, but I'm an optimist. I'm
Yeah.
going to go for Hibs to win 1-0.
Hibs to win 1-0, of course. Always, sometimes, if you're not aware of the strengths of the opposition, Chris, it's a good idea to work out if you're going there with your wife in the next few weeks. Ruffy does that. He works out if he's speaking in Edinburgh within the next month or two, and then he bases that on his opinion on whether they're going to win or not. Although it's been 10 years together, and I've yet to hear him say Hibs are going to lose a match. So, you know, we live in hope. Aberdeen against Breidablik, I think, you know, job done for me. I think it's all suddenly, you know, okay, it was a fortuitous goal against Livingston that got them the win, but they still got the win, and I still think there'll be games this season that, you know, prior to Stephen Glass, they'd maybe be drawing them, but I think there's a different ethos about Aberdeen this year, a different feel about them.
Definitely. We looked at it before, that the whole place is buzzing Aberdeen just now, and there's an inner optimism, and games like that when you're not playing your best, and it doesn't matter how you win. Winning is a great habit to get in, just like losing's a bad habit. And they've got players now, I think, within that squad who are winners, who have been used to winning things, who've been there, seen it, done it. And that's only going to help them move forward. And they look a good side this year. They're playing well, they're firing. No, I think they'll do the business.
Yeah, 3-0 Aberdeen I've got.
I'll take 2-0.
2, I'll go for 2. 2.
Okay. Just a couple of things, news points that you might want to offer your thoughts on as well. And remember, Monday to Friday, if you want to hit the subscribe button, you can do on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Some of the topics we've been discussing, you brought it up last week, Ruffy. I think a lot of the clubs are hoping the Joint Response Group are going to change their attitude to these social distancing laws which remain for squads around all of Scotland.
Yeah, I don't think people appreciate, you know, what the squads have had to do behind the scene. you know, with where they've been. I mean, we've been going to games and wondering where the teams are going to come out for. You know, they're coming out from behind this stand here, or coming out for the toilet area or something like that. They've had to be 100% correct in everything they do. We know about the travelling with the buses and all that carry on, and the social distancing. There must have been a headache behind the scenes, but most of the clubs have done everything in their power, you know, to go with the restrictions and the rules that are in place.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the transfers in and out? We'll just kind of cover quite a few of the names that have been linked with leaving Scotland, coming in to Scotland here. Our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi sums it all up for us for today.
With only 3 weeks left of the transfer window, the rumours are hotting up. Unfortunately, Lionel Messi won't be coming to the Scottish Premiership, but let's have a look at some players who might be. Celtic have made 5 first-team additions already, and the club are on the brink of bringing in Thomas Henry. The 6'4" French striker from Leuven in Belgium. He cost £7 million and scored 21 times last season. His arrival could prompt the exit of Odsonne Edouard, who's been linked with several clubs down south, most recently Brighton, for close to 20 million, whilst Aurelio Buta of Antwerp still remains the Hoops' #1 right-back target. It's all been quiet around Rangers recently, but progression in tonight's Champions League tie may affect them. Alfredo Morelos and Glenn Kamara have been constantly linked away, but nothing serious has materialised yet, making the group stages would surely fend off bids. Dundee United have managed to keep hold of Benjamin Siegrist, but it looks like Lawrence Shankland's exit is imminent, with the striker in Belgium to complete a move to Beerschot. With only 1 year left on his deal, a £1 million fee for the Tannadice club seems a decent price. Mark McNulty looks set to be his replacement on another loan from Reading. Aberdeen have made a strong start to the season and have turned down a £500,000 offer from a Championship side for Ryan Hedges. As a statement of intent, they've offered the Welshman a new deal that would make him one of their highest earners. Winger Matty Kennedy hasn't played this season yet. He could go out on loan, with both St Mirren and Ross County interested. Hibernian looked set to sell 19-year-old left-back Josh Doig last week, with Premier League clubs tabling bids of £3 to £4 million. However, interest has since cooled and Doig was back in the team at the weekend. So far, Jack Ross's men have kept hold of Ryan Porteous, Martin Boyle and Kevin Nisbet. Adding Doig to that list would give them a huge boost. And Livingston have added highly rated Birmingham youngster Odin Bailey to their ranks on loan. The 21-year-old attacking midfielder will aim to add firepower to the Livy frontline. Let us know what business your club still need to do before the window slams shut.
Yeah, it'll get more frantic the closer we get to that window closing, and of course maybe Hibs, now that they have Josh Doig back in the squad, will just give him some game time, Ruffy, until they get a concrete offer that they can act on.
Yeah, I would like to think the people at Hibs have had a word with the boy. You know, they've had him in, they've got to tell him everything that's happening. You can't have a young boy getting into games not knowing what's happening behind the scenes, and I think Hibs will be honest enough with him, you know, to say, look, this is the figure we're looking at. If we get that figure, we're more than happy to let you go, you know, and thing with your career. So I think things are not done and dusted, but they will be sort of just waiting for the right time and the right money to come in for them.
Yep, okay, we'll monitor that. Today, I think the internet almost broke at one point because people were logging on, desperate to see on the Paris Saint-Germain website the arrival of a certain Lionel Messi. Listen, it's a £25 million signing on fee for the man himself because it's obviously a free transfer. We reckon, Chris, 600,000 plus a week for your man playing for Paris Saint-Germain. That is incredible, isn't it?
It's unbelievable, isn't it, really? It's some amount of money to kick a ball a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
But for me, he's the best player in the world.
Yeah, ever?
I find it's generational, right? I know you'll say.
No, I'm quite happy with you. I mean, but listen, it's up to yourself. If you think he's the best player
I think
ever,
he is. I think he's unbelievable. The goals he scored, just look at the guy, he's sitting there with a send-off. Seeing you leave a club, usually it's like, see you later. He's getting a send-off for leaving Barcelona, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're all crying and everything, you know.
It just tells you what he means to the club, the players and about him. The guy's unbelievable, but that front three with PSG, man, with him. You would,
you should have seen the crying, the tears when Ruffy left Thistle. It was incredible when he decided to go for the money. Ruffy couldn't do a press conference because they couldn't be bothered in 19. What year did you leave?
I think it was 82. I think it was.
Was it that long? 82. And you'd signed for this, how long? Were you 13
I
years
was
at
there.
Thistle?
No, I was there for. I was 16. I was in the first team at 17.
And what age were you when you joined Hibs?
32.
32. And you still get into their Hall of Fame as well?
Yeah.
That was good.
I'm actually in 5 Hall of Fames.
We know you're in. We know you, Ruffy, you don't need to tell us about your history. We know you're in 5.
But Tam made a good point yesterday about Messi. Why do you need all that money?
Well, how much is enough, Ruffy?
I know. You would think, he's not. I don't mean taking so much out of the game, but you would. I bet he does a lot of charity work. I bet he does donate a lot of money. But people will be sitting going, "What is that about?"
Well, the other thing about it, Ruffy, is, and we mere mortals, and I would imagine most of the people who are on this programme, I mean, Ronnie Porter's just said Messi has a 25 million a year deal over 2 years. He can have an extension of a year for another 25 million if he turns it on, and you wouldn't bet against him doing that even at 34 heading to 35. And I agree with you, he's not the type of boy who's out there telling everybody what he does in the background, so fair play to him. The only thing I would say in this whole scenario is I would have loved to have seen him in the English Premier League rather than, I mean, no disrespect, French football.
No,
I wouldn't turn it on to channel 35 and watch it.
I was waiting you saying that. I think he's taking an easy option and going to that league because there only has 4 or 5 quality sides in it, and if he'd have went to England, would have seen him being tested a wee bit more. He's going to run riot in that French league with that team. I just hope you don't jump now for the Champions League when we start nominating. I've stuck with PSG whether he was there or not. Whether he was there or not. They were my team.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to. Well, to be fair, actually, I'm not a fan of it. I must admit. I mean, PSG, red hot favourites. They want to land the Champions League. I think the one team that really could, stop them ideally is Manchester City. If they get Kane, I think they will be formidable this season.
What you want is somebody that's going to guarantee you 25 plus goals a year, right? Harry Kane does that for Man City. Adds that they've obviously Aguero's moved on, his injuries and stuff, and it was time to bring somebody up. But Messi does that plus, and he gets the other players around about him 25 plus goals a season. You just look at that. It's the squad that PSG have got now is incredible.
Yeah. See, for £600,000 a week, though, Chris, would you ask somebody to go to the cash line for you rather than go to Greenock in the middle of the town centre?
Somebody that just did that job, that'd be their job. Just go to the bank every day for a wee man.
You could buy Greenock in a month.
Roughly, that's exactly. I'm looking at an apologies to any Morton fan, he's only winding you up. Anyway, but yeah, listen, £600,000 a week. Can you imagine does he even bother going to the cash line? That's all. But
is that not worth that for them to put outlay, for them to win the Champions League? That's what
yeah. Listen, Chelsea are spending just close to 100 million on a mistake that they made when they get rid of Lukaku. He's on his way back to the Premier League. I think Chelsea are going to be a force as well this year.
Definitely. I think Lukaku, again, with goals, that's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray Finkel says, and Ray's a regular on the programme and watches it on a regular occasion, says the best I've seen live was Ronaldinho. I mean, there are so many. Stephen Clancy says, for £600,000 a week, I'd clean your toilet, Peter. Stephen, if I was on 600 grand a week, I'd watch you clean my toilet. Believe me, I'd just be sitting there not bothering with this show. I mean, that's
a terrible thought. Can we move on to something?
I know. But anyway, listen, Stephen watches the programme, and I like the thought of. Well, Fraser says Jimmy Johnson was better than George Best. I mean, there's all sorts of great opinions on it. It starts a great bit of debate on who was great. Ronaldinho was brilliant, Ruffy. I loved watching.
I think it was Ronaldinho who came back and played against Chelsea in the Champions League. You remember he scored a free kick? His toe. He just curled it around the wall.
I know, it's difficult. And even Ronaldo. The Brazilian, which is amazing. I mean, of the two people, Ronaldinho, I have his top from the Champions League match against Celtic when David Marshall saved the penalty. And Ronaldo, obviously, I met in Brazil. I met him in Italy. He was absolutely unbelievable. Those players, and they're still not regarded as the greatest ever.
But that's like Ronaldinho as well. Like when he was at Barca, he was talking about this kid Messi coming through. But they were all talking about him, and it's just going on to show his numbers don't lie and what he's done in the game. But Ronaldinho, unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
magic. Listen, if you love your football and you love talking about individual players, I absolutely love reading out lots of people who talk about Malky. I think makes a great point. Malky, you'll never believe this. I've even managed to get his jersey as well. Would you believe it? Malky says Gaza was class, but obviously not at Messi's level. And I thought Gascoigne was absolutely outrageous.
Unfortunately, we got Gaz at the end of his career, but it was still a joy to watch. He was still
I love you saying that, but
it was still a joy.
I thought he was still top drawer then.
Some people say that it was some of his best stuff he played.
Absolutely.
It was fantastic. So you can imagine what he liked when in Spurs. Remember, he came on in the cup final and he scored. Then he got injured, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, at that level, he was magnificent.
I thought Gaza was great. I thought he was great at Rangers as well. He just, how can I say this without getting into trouble? Just maybe didn't have enough of the quality of himself. Has that been unkind to other Rangers players? I don't know, because they didn't get to where they wanted to be with him in the team. But for me, that as a number 8, he was just, he could take the ball anywhere.
Oh, brilliant! And, some that you watch like clips back in that, how powerful direct he was throwing people about, scoring goals. Like that goal against Scotland, the one,
outrageous,
unbelievable.
And well done to Music is the answer who follows us, says Zidane. Absolutely brilliant. I can still remember sitting in the stand at Hampden watching him score that goal.
I was right in line.
Were you? That's fantastic, Ruffy. Great. Zidane, different class. Listen, there you are. That's the type of thing we do. We talk about great footballers. We're going to be giving away another strip. I'm just actually, because I was off yesterday, Ruffy, I'm going to get the next of our Premiership strips to give away. Which one should we pick, Ruffy? Give us I've Motherwell last week.
St Mirren.
St Mirren. Well, that's a great choice, Ruffy, to really get everybody going for
Paisley?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what you want to do. You'll not be entering the competition, will you? St Mirren, right, that's good, Ruffy. I'll need to chase the St Mirren top for tomorrow. Anyway, competitions, giveaways, there's lots of them coming up. We're going to be giving away another Xbox as well coming up in the next couple of weeks. So there's lots of prizes to win. All you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel and offer us your opinion. We'd love to hear from you. You can record a video and give us your thoughts. All we do is ask you to join the football family. If you love your club, you love talking about players and you want a bit of opinion and banter, then you can join us Monday to Friday, 4 o'clock, PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Great to have Chris with us, if only for a fashion statement at the start of the programme every day. You never know what he's going to wear. As you can see here, we've got one of our Maestro tops, which is on sale in the shop, but we've got our legs ready, Ruffy, because we're ready for a wee bit of doubles tennis.
Yes, we're going to have a good game of tennis tonight. Let's hope we got a wee bit better game than we got last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we were on fire, Ruffy, but the good news is I've had an hour's training with my personal trainer,
dear.
And I feel as if I'm razor sharp.
So you'll still be doing my running for me?
Yes. I have enlightened them with the fact that I run about and you play all the delicate shots. Anyway, football, good luck to Rangers tonight. We will reflect on it tomorrow. Rangers against Malmo, 2-1. They've got to try and get Ibrox absolutely buzzing for this one and then do the business on the park over the 90 minutes to get through. We'll find out if Steven Gerrard can inspire the side to produce something magical tonight at Ibrox. Join us tomorrow, 4 o'clock, PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, if you can.